Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. It is Sunday, late night here, getting ahead of Monday's 6-game slate in the NBA with you. But we are coming off another 5-1 night, baby, on Sunday. That means 4-1 on Thursday, 4-1 on Friday. Took Saturday off and a 5-1 Sunday. We are actually 21-9 now in the last 7 days of betting. So hopefully you are following along. Subscribe to that page each and every night. If you're new, this is the deal. We bring you what we've got here for projections ahead of the slate tomorrow, which is Monday. Then on Monday, video comes out at 3 p.m. Eastern every day with final bets and best bets, plays, player props, and the like for you guys. So make sure you are following along so you can check those videos out each and every day. For this one, we're looking at 6 games on Monday. We've got a couple teams on the back end of a back-to-back. Charlotte is going to be playing in versus LA at home after getting beat by the Pacers. The Clippers beat the Miami Heat. Really nice win for them, honestly, and they're back in Atlanta on Monday for this game, and then Toronto is at New Orleans on Monday after they actually had a really good game against the Thunder but couldn't pull it out as the Thunder came back and won at home. The teams that are on the front end of a back-to-back, meaning they're playing on Tuesday as well as Monday. Brooklyn's playing Golden State on Monday, and then Dallas on Tuesday. And Dallas is at Philly on Monday, and then they're at Brooklyn, obviously, on Tuesday. I'm going to be looking at both of those games. Some really interesting stuff there. So let's get right into it. Not quite as interesting stuff in game one here with the Lakers and the Hornets, to be honest with you, but a lot of injuries that we need to look at. AD and LeBron are always questionable. This 10.5 spread indicates they're playing. So if you're looking to like outsmart the books and get ahead of it by betting on the Hornets without the possibility of AD and or LeBron being out, don't do that. They've been on every single injury report this year being questionable. So getting ahead of them not playing, not the play here. Both of them should be good to go in this one. The 3 guys that are out for them are pretty significant. They've been out for a while now, Cam Reddish and Gabe Vincent, and now Jared Vanderbilt might miss the rest of the season, and that would be a really huge blow for a team that really can't afford to lose much more wing defense. To be honest with you, you've seen how bad they've been in recent games without any wing defense, although they had that nice win against the Celtics. For the Hornets, man, this is just a season loss, which it kind of felt like from the jump, right? If you're a Hornets fan, you know that. The injury report is not yet submitted for Monday's games, but on Sunday they missed LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward, Cody Martin, and Mark Williams were all out. Some names that you've seen very consistently on this Hornets injury list each and every time. I'm just looking really quickly at some of the home road splits here for them because the Lakers do give up a ton more points on the road. Does feel kind of overy. It does feel like that is the play here. It would be going over instead of under, but I'm not positive, to be honest with you. I'm just leaning over in this game more than anything. If I'm going to look at some actual players to get theirs, I'd go right back to like a D'Lo. I'd probably take centers, AD, essentially take his rebounds props as well once they start showing up and stuff like that, because the Hornets are just a turnstile down low. Honestly, they're a turnstile everywhere. There's not much to break down with them. There's nothing they do particularly well. They're not going to be able to score at the rim. That's the only place that the Lakers have been defending well, is at the rim over the course of their last 10 games, especially, so, and on the season. But let's move on to a game that I do have a couple more things for. The Kings and the Cavs here. Now, the Cavs are going to be potentially without Jared Allen. Everybody else is pretty much healthy. Of the guys that we've seen out, like Garland and Mobley, they'll be in there. The Kings don't have anybody on that injury report as well. 233.5. I kind of lean under. I continue to find the Kings a good under on the road. I know it wasn't the play with the Pacers, but if you look at the pace and stuff for the Cavs, obviously things a lot choppier. With Evan Mobley back as well, it's sort of, I want to say it's like stifled the offense too much, but they're definitely prone to going under here are the Cavs. I would consider them pretty good favorites as well, the way that they've been playing, but the Kings on the road might surprise you a little bit, so I would be a little bit careful. The 5.5 points there for them is something that seems a little bit high for a team that is still, you know, a top 11, 12 team in the entire league. But really, they've just been struggling so much on the road, that record so much better at home as well, that it's tough to just really feel like you can support and back them against a top 5 seed in the East right now. Cavs actually jumped the Knicks for the 4 seed. So this is a pretty evenly matched game. And I don't know that I necessarily want to put anything on it right now. I will see what happens in the morning. But for the most part, this should be a pretty even game. And I would lean under beyond anything else in this one when you try to make bets on it. A game that I already have a bet for. We've got one best bet in that I'm going to give you here in just 1 second, and you'll probably be able to guess what it is once you see this next slide. But the first one here is the injuries, because that's what this is all based on. The Mavs will be without Derek Lively, without Dante Exum. I don't think they'll be with Luka Doncic. That's the biggest question mark around this entire game, is what's Luka's deal? He's got props up if you want to put down 36.5 points prefer Luka. You can try to take that over if you have the stones to do it. Obviously, with Luka, 36 doesn't seem that crazy, but this is, I don't know that it's a good spot for him to even play. Like, he's got that ankle injury. The 76ers are down bad pretty much right now with JoJo out, obviously, and then Nick Batum out, Robert Covington, D'Anthony Melton, and really, really important, Tobias Harris is questionable. And if he doesn't play, it is truly the Tyrese Maxey show and nothing else. So Maxey at 29.5, I think right now, I don't hate taking that for him. Maybe parlaying it with Kyrie, which we'll talk about here, because he's going to play. Like I said, I don't predict Luka to play. If you read the stuff about him falling, having Giannis fall on his ankle, and according to Luka, what he heard was a pop. He heard a pop in his ankle when Giannis fell on it. That doesn't seem like a great sign. So I'm going to bank on him not playing and look at some of the key info here, what that means without him. So when we talk about not having Joel Embiid and not having Luka Doncic, these are two of the 5 best players in the NBA. If anyone wants to argue with me, please jump in the comments and let me know who the 5 player, or at least 4 players better than both of those dudes. I can't name them for you this year, especially. So with Kyrie out, or excuse me, with Luka out, these are Kyrie stats. 24 a game with Luka, 30.6 without him. Field goal attempts go up from 18.9 to 22.8. That's 4 more. The rebounds go up from basically 5 to 6. The 3-point attempts go up from 6.6 to 9, right? He's pulling and pulling and pulling. And then the assists go up from 5 to 6.6. I would also consider some Tim Hardaway Jr. stuff in here. It really becomes the THJ and Kyrie Irving show whenever Luka's not on the floor. That's what we've seen over the course of the last 5-6 games this year. That, well, really just the 5 games that Luka's missed and that Kyrie has played without him. And Kyrie has looked amazing. I tried to fade him once when he was in the midst of scoring 42 points, 33 points, getting 10 dimes, 10 boards all over the place. He was going nuts. And I would expect a bit more of the same from him against this 76ers team, who has been awful against point guards. In fact, both of these teams have been awful against point guards over the course of the last couple weeks. They're the Mavericks giving up the most points per game to the opposing point guard over the last 7 games, and the 76ers giving up the 3rd most points per game to opposing point guards over the last 7. So where is all the scoring going to come from in this game? The point guard Tyrese Maxey on the 76ers, point guard Kyrie Irving on the Mavs. If Luka is out, Kyrie and Tyrese Maxey score 30 points each. Pretty reasonable. That gets you about plus 225 on your money, the way that they both have their props listed right now. Kyrie's at 27.5 points. The minute that Luka's ruled out, that's going way up. Let's just be very clear. Like, that's going to end up at last time this happened, he had like a 28.5 point prop that surged to 32.5 points as soon as Luka was officially ruled out. I think you can expect a lot of that to happen here again. For the 76ers, real quick, with and without Embiid, this is just a shell of a team, right? It's not even close. There's no point to them even making trades moving forward to substitute for Embiid's absence. Like, you don't supplement or fill in, right, for his absence. The only reason you make a trade if you're the 76ers is because you're planning on making your team better when Embiid comes back. The main point is, if Embiid's not in there, this team doesn't have a shot, right? They don't have a shot at a top 4 seed in the East. Maybe they'll win one because they have such a large lead ahead of the other teams right now, but they're done for, right? They're not the same team. So I think you're going to see a ton of Maxey, though. They're not going to just start trying to lose. There's no point in that for them. If you look at the reasoning, like, they're not going to make it down far enough to get a good pick if they start losing now. Plus, I mean, honestly, you'd rather just have Tyrese Maxey going out and doing his thing and preparing for potentially next year for him to be a true second banana on a championship team, which he's probably capable of. So anyway, just real quick, if you want to look at the stuff with and without Embiid, it's pretty stark. 8 fewer points per game that they're going to score without him. They give up 7 more points per game without him. They get 5 fewer boards. They get 5 fewer free throw attempts, 5.5 fewer free throw attempts a game. All the stuff that he does to dominate, get easy buckets for your team, and all the rebounds that you could possibly hope for. Nobody really has to worry about boxing out when Embiid's out there getting the boards. So that's obvious. But let's talk about what the bet is here, because it is from this game. And dun, 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 it is Kyrie Irving to go over 27.5 points. Like I said, if you want to sprinkle, like I did already, the 30 plus for both he and Tyrese Maxey, I put a half unit on them to both drop 30. I'll put that in the best bets as well, so that's clear to you guys. But I'm getting a really good price at plus 225 right now at about 11:30 p.m. Eastern Pacific time. Out here on the West Coast. So I would make sure to go ahead and hit that now if you do plan on doing it. If you don't want to, whatever. But like, for me, I think that this is going to go up, right? Like, Kyrie's points aren't going to be at 27.5 by like noon PM, noon Eastern, or let's say noon West Coast time tomorrow. Philly, like I said, they're allowing the 3rd most points per game over their last 7 2-point guards. And I'm getting ahead of this injury news that I think Luka's not going to play. That's what I'm predicting here with this bet. Philly 28th in rim field goal percentage the last 5 games. Why is that so important? Embiid has missed a bunch of games, right, in that time frame, and he is the best shot or at least rim protector in the league this year with the #1 defensive field goal percentage among centers who have qualified by playing enough minutes and enough games. And without him in there, it is empty. I mean, Mo Bamba looked okay. I will be honest. Mo Bamba looked all right against the Jazz down low. I don't know how much you want to expect out of him. He's not going to have much to deal with down there, but I don't think he's going to be able to stop Kyrie going to the rim, who is shooting a ton of mid-range. He's shooting a ton of shots at the rim, and he's shooting a bunch of above-the-break threes. Those are all places that Philly is struggling mightily. At the rim, 28th in defensive field goal percentage the last 5 games. They're also allowing the 5th most above the break threes made in the last 5 games as well. So everything's just a little bit more open when, a lot of it more open when Joel Embiid is not in there. And I fully expect this man, Kyrie Irving, to be the one to take full advantage of that. All right, next game here. And I got 2 more for you. There's 6 games. The only one I missed out on was Toronto. Quick reminder to subscribe to the page if you are new. Appreciate all the new people jumping in too. And a reminder that we will have final best bets tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern with another video coming out for that. All right, the Warriors are taking on the Nets in Brooklyn. Andrew Wiggins probably not going to play. Dario Saric probably going to play. And then Chris Paul and Gary Payton the second are still out for the Warriors. For the Nets, DFS, Dorian Finney-Smith is out. Day'Ron Sharpe, backup center, is out. And after a grueling 13.5 minutes of play on, I think, Saturday, Ben Simmons is out on Monday with his back still being hurt. I'm moving past that. Game 4 key info here. In the last 10, the Warriors are the best offensive team according to points per game. They're dropping 125 a game overall. You can see the splits here in their last 10 between home and road. And look, they don't play any defense anymore. I don't know if they ever really did this year, but they certainly aren't even trying to do that anymore, no matter where they are. They're giving up 126 or so points a game, 125 a game in their last 10 as well. Just nothing on that side of the floor. Call them the Goal End State Warriors. 0 defense for them. No D. Pace at about 100, 100.5 for them, no matter where they're playing. They were a team that you could kind of bank on these home road splits for the season. Now, I don't know. I think they're just a team that's just selling out on offense no matter what, because they can't stop nobody on defense. And they played a few faster paced teams as of late. Obviously just had that 107 or 275 or whatever total that they finished with against Atlanta when they lost. Atlanta came back and beat them. So that was actually a good win for Atlanta, and another awful loss for the Warriors, who are awful in close games. They've been awful in the clutch. And honestly, like if it weren't for the fact that the Nets are a team I kind of stay away from because I just never get them right. I fade them when I shouldn't, and I bet them when I shouldn't. And so if it wasn't the Nets, I might try to take advantage of this and go, all right, well, let me just take the Nets to beat this team. But it does feel right for another over. Both of these teams are, well, let's put it this way. The Nets are much better on defense at home as of late. You can look at their last 10 now and see that they're only scoring a $111 and giving up 109 at home. But that's in the last 10, and they've played a bunch more faster paced teams on the road. So I actually use these splits here to tell you, like, don't buy too much into it. I do think there's some reason to believe that this will go over when these two teams play each other. Neither of them guard the point guard position super well at all. So Cam Thomas and Steph Curry are both great bets to go off in this game. Even Mikal Bridges, good bet to go off in this game. Not a good matchup for him either. Probably would have had Andrew Wiggins on him, although I don't know how much you trust Wiggs to play defense this year. He's been a shell of himself on both sides of the floor. Moses Moody is healthy now for the Dubs. If he was fully healthy, I'd say, I don't know, maybe he gets some minutes on Mikal. If Gary Payton Jr. was healthy, I'd say he's going to get some minutes on Mikal. But nobody is going to be playing that I just mentioned. And so I just really don't think there's a good matchup here to guard Bridges, which is partly why I think he and Cam Thomas, microwave scorers, they're going to get what they want from above the break. They're going to get what they want in isolation, because this team, the Warriors, if you try to, if you go take a good offensive player in ISO and put them against the Warriors, they don't have the isolation defenders to stop anybody. They're too small, or they're too unathletic. To be honest with you, there's only one dude who can guard multiple positions on their team, and that's Jonathan Kuminga. I would say Andrew Wiggins, but once again, I don't know how to like feel about that man and his defense right now. And then there's Draymond, whose one-on-one defense though is nothing right now. So the Nets to me are the play here at -2. That's just, I don't trust them. So that's my suggestion. I haven't bet it yet. The over 236.5 would also be my lean. Haven't bet that yet either. But if I do want those things, I'll have them in tomorrow's video for you at 3 p.m. Eastern. This last one here, I'm just briefly looking at because the Clips just had a really nice win against Miami. This would be a major letdown game for them. It's very stinky. Like, this is the Clippers, who are the best team in the NBA right now. Yeah, I said that. They are the best team in the NBA right now, versus the Hawks, who continue to be the worst team against the spread, although they've started to turn that around a bit and have covered in their last 3 games. Finally. So, maybe there is a turnaround coming for Quinn Snyder and squad, but this feels just like when Phoenix came to town the other day and the Hawks won that game outright as dogs, a 3.5 point dog as well to Phoenix. The stinky part about that line is the same stinky part about this line, which is like the Clippers are for sure 3 points better than the Hawks. So why is this only 3? Because the books know something, because there's an issue, there's something that I'm missing is my main point. Like if I'm betting on this right now, I'm betting Hawks plus 3.5. They've been a bit better in certain key areas. The Clippers can score from everywhere is the problem. They are incredibly dangerous from all over the floor. When you put Harden and PG and Kawhi on the floor together, now you've got an incredibly good passing point guard, who probably the best passing point guard in the league. You've got a very versatile wing player in PG who's been shooting threes very well. And you have Kawhi, who is Kawhi. There's not really he's a 1 of 1 in the league this year. The way his mid-range game is working, the way he's getting to the bucket, he's been hitting threes at a ridiculous clip. So yeah, all of it. Like I don't. It seems like they're going to play. I don't know that I would expect the Clips to have too many guys resting on the back-to-back. They've been playing all their dudes. We are in Atlanta. We should mention that there's a lot of strip clubs in Atlanta, and we should mention that James Harden loves strip clubs. That's all I'm saying. So do what you will with that. But I think the 3.5 with this back-to-back on the road for the Clips is the play here for the Hawks. You can see at home a ton more points scored than at home than on the road. But the key thing here is at least they have a +1 point differential at home versus this -13 point differential when they play on the road over their last 10. The Clips, they've been going under. So I would actually lean under before I'd go over in a 244.5. I know the Hawks are playing super fast. If the Clippers want to bring it on defense, that's where I would lean. 244.5 after we just saw the Clippers go down. And obviously that was Miami. Play a game, though, that was 201. I think it was 103.98. It was 200 at the most, right? So like it wasn't a very high scoring game. It was the lowest scoring first half of the year for the Clips and the Heat as well. It's not something you can use too thoroughly here because obviously the Hawks play so much faster than do the Miami Heat, and the Clips are capable of scoring a $130, no questions asked, on pretty much anybody in the entire league. But that said, the way they're playing slower on the road, the way that they are not only playing slower, but they're playing better defense on the road and really locking up to try to avoid the need to score 127 like they have at home. This all kind of leads me to go, all right, yeah, this one feels right for the under, but also keep an eye on this. Like I said, tomorrow, I'm probably coming back with maybe a little 3.5. If it goes up in favor of the Clips, that's better. I would predict this to go the spread to move towards the Clippers. That's why I'm not really in a rush to just go ahead and bet on the Hawks at +3.5. I think it's a fishy number that I can get to an even better number for myself. If I can get this to +5.5 as soon as I see the Hawks at +5.5, that's my bet right there for them. So if you do see that by the time you see this video and it's at 5.5, feel free to hit the Hawks. All right, that is all the time that I have for you guys in this one. As I have mentioned now a number of times, subscribe to that page if you would. Like the video. It's also super helpful. Got a lot of new people in over the weekend. Really appreciate that because that's what happens when you go 21-9 in 7 days on a little mini heater here. Let's keep it going, though. I have no intentions of slowing down. Like, at the worst, we go 500, maybe we lose 0.1, 0.2 units. But that's the key here, y'all, is that, like, there was 2 days last week that I lost money. I lost 0.2 units, and I lost 0.8 units. On the days that I won, 2.4, 2.4, 5.4, one day where I was plus 0.3, right? But, like, you mitigate the losses by not making stupid bets, controlling your unit sizes, and all the rest of it. If you want to know what that means, hit me up in the comments. We can talk about it. Always down to have a discussion. Really appreciate everybody jumping in and giving me their thoughts lately. So continue to follow along, subscribe to that page. And until I see you next, happy betting.